All right, so everyone's talking about AI these days, right? And how we need to get ready for this world where AI is everywhere. It's like, it's not some far off thing anymore. It's already changing everything.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, how AI is already woven into so much of our lives, from stuff like the recommendations you get on Netflix to way social media works. It's like it's already running in the background, shaping our experiences without us even realizing it sometimes.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to be talking about upskilling, right? Like, this isn't just about keeping up with the latest tech trends. It's about making sure we have the skills we need to actually thrive in this future, where AI is like a core part of how we work.
It really is. It's about staying ahead of the curve. Think about it. AI is amazing at those repetitive tasks, the things we do over and over again. And those are the jobs that are going to change the most, right? What we need to do is focus on the skills that AI can't do, the stuff that makes us uniquely human, valuable in this new world.
Right, right. It's about, like, working with AI, not against it, using it to create new opportunities instead of being scared it's going to take over our jobs.
100%. It's all about shifting our perspective a little bit. And a big part of that shift is upskilling.
Yeah.
We need to be proactive, learning the things that will help us work with AI, using it as a tool to make us even better at what we do.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What are some real-world strategies for upskilling in this AI-powered world? Like, how do we actually do it? Where do we even start?
Yeah, good question. It can feel overwhelming, for sure. But there's some really cool approaches out there. And actually, lots of companies are already doing this stuff. One of them is this idea of tailored training programs.
Tailored training. What's that about?
Well, think about how companies used to do training. It was like a one-size-fits-all approach, the same for everyone.
What?
But in this world of AI, that just doesn't cut it. We need training that's specifically designed to teach the skills that are needed for, working with AI. It's got to be relevant to the specific jobs people are doing.
Oh, I see. So, like, someone in marketing needs different AI skills than someone working in finance.
Exactly. You got to make the training relevant so it's actually useful to people on their jobs. For example, Google's got this program called the AI Impact Challenge, and they give grants and tools to organizations that are creating these, tailored training programs focused on things like healthcare or education.
That's awesome. It's great to see companies actually making upskilling happen. And it's not just these big tech companies either. I read that AT&T is working with those online learning platforms, to give their employees access to tons of courses on AI and related tech stuff.
And that brings us to another big strategy, using these online learning platforms. Platforms like Coursera, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, they've got so many resources. It's super accessible and affordable. And, you can learn on your own time, which is huge for folks who are already working full time.
Totally. It's like having a university right there at your fingertips, but you can learn whenever you want. And those platforms are always changing, adding new courses, updating old ones. You got to keep up with how fast AI is moving.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial. The AI world is constantly evolving, so we got to embrace this idea of lifelong learning. It's not about taking one course and being done. It's about constantly learning, keeping up with new skills, new knowledge, stay ahead of the curve, right?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Totally agree.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about, like, actually getting hands-on experience. You can learn a lot from books and courses, but sometimes you just got to get in there and actually do the thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's where on-the-job AI training comes in. And this is something that companies like Tesla are crushing it at. They're training their employees to actually work with and troubleshoot the AI systems they use to build their self-driving cars. That kind of experience, it's priceless because you really understand how AI works in the real world.
It's one thing to know the theory, but actually seeing AI in action and working with it directly, that's got to be so empowering for those employees.
It is. And it's not just about the technical stuff. It's about problem solving, thinking critically, and being adaptable. Those are all crucial skills in an AI world.
So we got tailored training, online learning, on-the-job training. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Well, we can't forget about building a culture of lifelong learning within organizations. It's not just about providing access to training resources, it's about creating an environment where learning is encouraged, valued, and rewarded.
Like making people excited to learn, seeing it as an opportunity to grow and develop, not some chore they got to do.
Yeah, exactly. And, companies like Amazon are leading the way here. Their Upskilling 2025 initiative, they're investing a ton of money into training employees for these in-demand roles, including a bunch related to AI. They're offering all sorts of opportunities, from online courses to in-person boot camps. They even help pay for employees to go back to school.
Wow, they're really serious about upskilling. And it sends a message to their employees that, like, their growth and development is a priority for the company.
Absolutely. And that's something every company, big or small, should be thinking about. Because when you invest in your employees, you're investing in the future of your business.
So true. But before we move on, I want to go back to something you said earlier about how AI is going to automate a lot of those routine tasks. And that, obviously raises concerns about jobs, right? What happens to the people whose jobs are affected by AI?
Yeah, it's a valid concern for sure. We got to talk about it. But it's important to remember that AI isn't about robots taking over. It's about humans and AI working together, each doing what they're best at.
Oh, okay. So it's about like augmenting our abilities, making us better and more efficient at what we do, not replacing us entirely.
Exactly. And if you look back at history, we see this pattern repeating. The Industrial Revolution, for example. It automated a lot of manual jobs, but it also created whole new industries, new types of jobs that people couldn't have even imagined before.
It's like this cycle, right? Disruption, then innovation. So some jobs might become obsolete, but new ones will emerge, needing new skills and expertise. And that's where upskilling becomes so important, getting ready for those new opportunities.
That's the key. It's about embracing change, seeing it as a chance to learn and grow, to evolve with the technology and create this future where humans and AI work together to solve, some of the big challenges we face.
Man, it's exciting times we live in. But hold on, we've been focusing a lot on the technical side of things. What about the human side?
Ah, yes, the human element. That's where things get really interesting, and that's what we'll be diving into next.
Okay, so we talked about like the practical steps, the how-to of upskilling for this AI world, but now I'm really curious about that human element you mentioned. What are those uniquely human skills that actually become even more valuable in this landscape?
It's funny, right? Like, the better AI gets at mimicking certain aspects of, human intelligence, the more important the things that truly set us apart become. We're
Yeah.
talking about creativity, critical thinking, communication, emotional intelligence, the stuff that's inherently human, hard to replicate with code.
I see what you mean. It's like as AI takes over those routine tasks, those more predictable things, we're actually freed up to focus on what makes us human, thinking outside the box, connecting with others, problem solving in new ways.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. AI can handle the what, but we're still the masters of the why and the how.
Hmm.
Like, take creativity, for example. AI can generate stuff, like content, but it often mixes that spark of originality, that ability to connect ideas that seem totally unrelated and come up with something truly new.
Yeah, we've all seen those AI generated
Mhm.
images or stories, right? They're impressive technically, but they
Right.
often feel kind of empty. They lack that human touch, that emotional depth that comes from, actually living life.
Exactly. So in this world where AI is handling more of the technical parts of jobs, it's the people who can bring that creative thinking, that's who's going to stand out.
So it's like AI is pushing us to become more human, to really lean into those qualities that make us unique.
I love that. And it's not just creativity either. Critical thinking is huge. It becomes even more important in an AI-driven world.
Because AI can process information so fast, but it doesn't always get the context, right?
Yeah.
The nuances, the potential biases in the data, that's where we come in.
Exactly. We have to be able to analyze information, to ask the right questions, to figure out what's true and what's not, especially with so much information out there and AI generating more and more of it. We can't just passively consume information anymore. We have to evaluate it, understand what it means.
It's like being a detective almost, right?
Mhm.
Sifting through everything to figure out what's real. And that ties into communication too, doesn't it? AI can write, but it struggles with all those subtle things in human communication. Tone of voice, empathy, understanding different cultures.
You got it. Communication is key. We have to build relationships, convey complex ideas in a way that resonates with other people. That's always important at work, but even more so when we're working with AI.
It's about like bridging that gap between the technical stuff and the human stuff,
Yeah.
making sure AI is used in a way that, aligns with our values and helps us.
Right, and that's where emotional intelligence comes in. AI can crunch data to predict human behavior, sure, but it doesn't really get human emotions. It can't understand or respond to them. But we're wired for empathy. We can sense how others are feeling, build trust, navigate all those tricky social
So
situations.
it's a balance, right? AI brings the logic and efficiency and data,
Hmm.
and we bring creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, the ability to connect with each other, as humans.
100%. It's a pretty amazing synergy, really. And the more we understand and develop those human skills, the better we'll do in this AI-powered world.
This is all making a lot of sense. But how do we actually get better at these skills? One thing to say they're important, but another to, put them into practice.
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer. I mean, traditional education is part of it, but we got to look beyond the classroom, too. Think mentorship programs, workshops, online courses, those can be really helpful for developing soft skills.
I love the idea of making soft skills part of training programs, right alongside the technical stuff. It's about like a holistic approach to learning, recognizing that these skills are just as important as coding or analyzing data.
Totally agree. And it's not just formal training either. We can practice these skills in our everyday lives. Creative hobbies, reading, having those deep conversations, all of that helps us hone our human skills.
It's almost like we need to be as focused on developing our human abilities as we are on developing AI, right? Because it's a combination of both that's really going to, unlock the potential of this new era.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And the best part is, as AI keeps evolving, so will our understanding of what it means to be human and how to, use our unique strengths in this new world. It's a journey for sure, and one that I think will lead us to a better, more meaningful future.
This has been so insightful. We talked about practical steps for upskilling, those essential human skills that make us different, and the potential of this human-AI partnership. But as we wrap up this part of our conversation, I can't help but wonder what's next. Where do we go from here? What does all this mean for, the average person trying to figure out this rapidly changing world?
Yeah, it's true. It can be a bit overwhelming, but I think the most important thing to remember is that the future of work, it's not set in stone. We're creating it right now through the choices we make, the questions we ask, the actions we take.
So it's not about waiting to see what happens. It's about actively shaping the future we want.
You got it. And that starts with a willingness to learn and adapt and a commitment to developing both our technical skills and those human skills.
And that's the key to thriving in an AI-powered world.